Hello everyone. Good morning. Good morning to all of you, all the great community hearing and listening our Café&Croissant today. Welcome to Fongit. Welcome to a new episode of very interesting news about our startup community. Today is a sunny day here in Geneva, warm sunny day, and is the second day of two very intense days for Geneva, because the diplomacy yesterday worked very well, and so we had yesterday happening this very important summit between Biden and Putin here in Geneva, putting again Geneva in the center of the geopolitical maps worldwide. And today we have our Café&Croissant. So you see how two important just combined together, and they don't overlap. Most importantly, I would have also time to discuss about the results of Euro 2020-21, the soccer event. Maybe there's going to be another time. But of course, I'd like to share first of all this news not alone. Today I will be joined as usual by the two friends and two colleagues of mine. So I'd like to welcome on stage Ingeborg Albert and James Miners. Good morning, Ingeborg.
Morning.
Good morning, James.
Good morning, and thank you for welcoming us and accommodating us at this Swiss Startup Summit, a subject of global importance for the future of the world. And I'm delighted to be here with other dignified dignitaries.
Yes, thank you, James. I know you appreciate how good the diplomacy worked for making this one day after the other, and I think it's important also to say that Geneva is not only a place where big geopolitical events occur, but is also a startup place, right? And Switzerland as well. Ingeborg, you're going to tell us a bit more about life science community thriving at Campus Biotech Innovation Park. And I know that you also have a special guest today, because we will have Martha Gehring from the Swiss Biotech Association that will present us. That we have really the pleasure and the opportunity to have her here, presenting us a bit the status of the biotech sector here in Switzerland, which is really a very important sector, accounting for a significant portion of our economy. So I really look forward to hear what Martha will have to say, and also James will tell us a bit about what is really important not to miss in our community. I think that's we can start. What do you think? With how many people we have online? Yes, I see people arriving. That's great. And we also have a hybrid version. We are today in a hybrid version, so we are online, but we also have in our cafeteria here at Fongit in Plan Les Ouates people enjoying croissant. I know that are arriving there. I see people moving around, so that's great, because that looks like life is gently going back to normal, and croissants are still there in physical, no, which is important. And by the way, I hope that someone is going to bring one here as well. Okay, shall we kick it off? So I'll see you in a moment, both Ingeborg and James. Right? Thank you. So I think the best way to start, it's always starting with some news. Let me see if voila. Okay, now you see my slides. That's great. Yeah, the news of the new arrivals at Fongit. in our community. We always like to celebrate new entrepreneurs starting their companies, coming within our community, among our community, and we salute and we celebrate today Cognitex, who arrived this month, and it's a newcomer at Fongit Innovation Community, but is a company that is already developing and actually having clients of their products, which is an artificial intelligence platform, engine and platform dedicated to assess risk and opportunities in complex systems. In a world where compliance and is very much linked and related among organizations to subjects such as security subjects, you realize that the cybersecurity and compliance interconnection is extremely important, because it might be a disaster for a company not managing well this element, and definitely is an element of cost that any organization, big or small, needs to take into account more and more. Cognitex has developed a platform for automizing and using artificial intelligence to optimize these processes, which is not a very time-consuming manual type of processes. And so their platform has been already tested and used among tier 1 financial players here in Geneva, big private banks. So welcome Cognitex. We are happy to support you, and welcome to Gilles José, who is the founder and CEO of this company. Welcome, Gilles, and all your team in our community. Another thing that we would like to remind you is this month is the Fongit, the seed, the Fonds d'Innovation Fongit, the FIF, which granted last month 2 seed loans for 2 of our most promising companies, Adipos and Zitlin. Adipos developing a solution for detecting cachexia, early detection of cachexia, and Zitlin is an artificial intelligence platform for data analysis and predictions, applied today mostly for the airline industries. So we already mentioned this news last month. We believe, however, that that is important to remind that this new tool is now available. This FIF, this Fonds d'Innovation de la Fongit, this new tool is now available for all tech entrepreneurs addressing an SDG objective, and they want to develop a company in Geneva. It is something that is new, is something that the state of Geneva decided to put in place together with Fongit. We are very happy to have this new powerful tool that give money. In this case, each company received 100K. This month, we're gonna have another session of this FIF, where hopefully we will be able to provide to promising projects and promising startups both grants up to 50,000 and seed loan against up to 100,000. So we reiterate the invite to all the startups, to all the tech entrepreneurs that are wishing to have a support, a financial support, to apply to these new measures. We see incredibly interesting projects arriving, and I think it's a fantastic tool that will allow us as Geneva to really position where we deserve to be in terms of innovation ranking in Switzerland and in Europe in general. When we established this new tool, we together with the state, we didn't want to reinvent the wheel. We wanted to get inspired, and we wanted to follow the best practices. So you will see that this tool is really picking and gathering from all the good practices around us, including in our nearby canton, where our friends in Canton de Vaud are doing a great job in fostering their innovation community. So we are taking these elements and then we try to package, adapting them for the Geneva environment. So go and check, all entrepreneurs, this Fonds d'Innovation Fongit on our website, fongit.ch/financing, and you will have all the information about this. Let me talk to you now about one project that you have seen quite a few times already in our newsletters, in our communications, on our socials, and as well on our Café&Croissant. Is Rebo. It's a smart bottle. It's a bottle that has an interconnected technology that allows to first of all to track the water you drink. And second, to have the opportunity to collect for a certain amount of water you drink, the plastic bottles and the use of plastic around the globe. So it is the plastic collection cost, which is paid by Rebo for every bottle of water you consume using their bottle. And this is done in collaboration with the Parley Global Cleanup Network, which is an alliance of organizations that collaborate to remove plastic around the world. And we like this project. We like this project because we believe it's a smart way to approach issues related to sustainability. A sustainability which is seen not like trying stop consuming, but rather trying to consume differently. Of course, building a bottle like this requires energy, requires batteries, requires technology, a bit like any electric vehicle does. What is more interesting is the net impact coming of the use of these bottles. And it's true that this approach to sustainability has the opportunity not only to provide a net positive impact regarding carbon footprint, but it also provides something which for us is even more interesting at this stage, still early stage, relatively early stage of adoption of these solutions, which is the important role of the community and extremely relevant and important role of the awareness around these themes. So Rebo has been able to create this type of community and the awareness of why it is important. And it's not Fongit saying that. It's today. It's Adidas, and that's why we are presenting this project again today, because Adidas decided, the big brand of sport equipment, decided to create a line of bottles, Adidas, in collaboration with Rebo. They promote these bottles on their websites. They are already putting a lot of pressures on the company for delivering the production, and I think that all the interconnection with the Runtastic, Adidas, Running Up, and all these things are going in the direction that I was mentioning, building a community and building awareness about and around this community about how important are these issues for the future. So it's a new contemporary way to approach the problem, and we also congratulate this team for the results they're having. Well done, Rebo. Moving towards life science projects, we also would like to congratulate a company we support. We have been supporting last year, and we keep supporting as well. It's a company coming from Geneva, and in particular a company that develops an incredibly interesting technology for a new therapeutic option to treat lymphoma patients. Lymphoma patients who become resistant to conventional treatments, which is unfortunately something that happens quite often. So Abologix has been recognized by VentureKick, extremely selective jury, and they got the VentureKick 3. They won it, and they got 150,000 to develop their target antibodies for cancer patients. So there is a very important recognition for Abologix, and it sets really this company with a good pedigree also for going and raise more money, additional money in the future. So well done, Abologix, for this important result. The last company I'd like to mention to you is ICT company, artificial intelligence, big data type of company. We briefly discussed previously with the fifth seed loan that has been granted to Zittlin. But just after the fifth loan, Zittlin also announced an important milestone in their development, in their startup journey, which is the raise of their seed round, a 2.5 million seed round raised through solid, good angel investors, as well as extremely well connected and knowledgeable more institutional investor of the type of venture capital. So it is interesting to see that this project has a lot of traction among the angel investors. There are also few participating to the SICTIC business angel community, and that shows again that this company is really getting the right positioning and the right story for being able not only to develop, to get the first clients, but also to further being able to raise money in the future. Regarding this, they already have they have signed actually last I think a couple of weeks ago a very important contract with a new client. I cannot tell it, of course, but then I look forward for the official communication about it. So really congratulations, Zittlin, congratulations, Human, and the team for building what is going to be probably a very nice story in the Geneva area. And with this, I think that we are getting to more towards the life science world. I think we should have now online Marta. Marta Gehring, she's working at the Swiss Biotech Association. And voila, Marta.
Hello.
Welcome.
Nice to meet you, Antonio.
Yes, it's a pleasure to have you here, and it's great that you could make it. And yes, you are today. You are our guest star, presenting a bit about the biotech sector here in Switzerland.
I worked for 11 years in Chemin de Mine. What was that in Serono? So Geneva is like the biotech home for me.
Okay, fantastic. We're glad to hear this. So I will turn the slides for you. So
thank you.
I give you. I mean, now it's up to you, and I look forward to hear you. Okay. Good.
Okay. So each year, Swiss Biotech produces a report, which is also presented in detail at our annual meeting this year. It will be in September in Basel, September 7th. Please join us. Normally it's in April, but delayed to the pandemic. In the next slide, you see a map of Switzerland that really gives you a picture of the dynamic biotech system we are talking about. You have data on exports, 99 billion, 4.5 billion in sales, not including Novartis and Roche. This is really the innovation ecosystem. 3.4 billion raised, and also a 10% increase in R&D during a pandemic year to 2.2 billion. But perhaps most astonishing, if you look at the bottom of the chart, is not only that we continue to be number one in the Global Innovation Index, but on the right, look at the astonishing number of approvals. 57 FDA approvals versus 48 the year before, 97 EMA versus 66 the year before, and 42 versus 29 Swissmedic. So if you're looking at the future of this industry, looking at the approvals, it should be very, very promising. And then moving on to the next slide here, you get a little bit more of a flavor of the export. This data is captured by Science Industries, our partners in the Swiss Biotech Report, and life science exports continue to be, very dominating for the Swiss industry, and that's great to see. And when you add Medtech together, we're probably, at a 60%. And in all the engineering technologies. And finally, the fact that last year was one of the best years ever for financing. Investments almost tripled to 3.4 billion, R&D up 10%, the employees in Swiss biotech companies increased, and the high quality patent output continued. Of course, there were also some difficulties with COVID, delayed trials, smaller companies not getting any support because they don't have a sales history. But overall, we managed, and the industry continued to thrive. And in the very last slide here, what we are showing is some of the speed with which industry was able to react. We all know that the public healthcare system, maybe during COVID, was not ideal, but industry was really, and researchers were really fast to move. So 3 examples here, that this synthetic COVID virus was reproduced by the University of Bern within 1 month of the genetic sequence made public, and University of Bern has distributed that virus for research purposes around the world. Sophia Genetics here in Swiss Romand developed an AI platform to predict COVID-19 evolution, servicing 1,000 hospitals around the world in just 4 months. And we all know that Lonza set up the Moderna RNA vaccine production line in just 8 months, something which normally is done over a period of 2 years. So having given you that snapshot, let me tell you that you can download the Swiss Biotech Report online. It's for free. You can also order it should you want to have it in paper. And please join us on September 7th in Basel to meet with innovators and with larger corporates, and to really be part of the Swiss biotech community in Switzerland. And become a member if you are not.
Thank you, Marta, for being sharp and effective about what biotech sector is in Switzerland and the importance of it. Actually, I don't know if you will have time to stay with us at the end for some Q&A.
I have time until 10:30. Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So maybe then, because I've got also some questions about how we could really, which advice we would like to, or you could give out from your privileged point of view for entrepreneurs in the biotech, in the Swiss biotech domain. When
Great.
It comes to non-dilutive funding at university, and then how they can bridge and towards the more private funding. So if you stay online, maybe we can have a chat afterwards. Is that okay?
Okay. Sure.
Great. Thank you for that. And then, from Marta to Ingeborg, another so important key person for the life science sector in Geneva. Welcome, Ingeborg. Thank you.
Hi, Antonio.
So, what's happening at Campus Biotech Innovation Park and at Genius?
Yeah, first up, I think I also want to thank Marta. It's really insightful, and to see really the scale on which the Swiss biotech industry is performing. It really shows that life sciences is a really important sector in Switzerland and also in Geneva. And that's also why we're here, really to highlight to you what's happening in Geneva and in the epicenter of life sciences, which is the Campus Biotech Innovation Park. So you may know or you may not know this, but the Campus Biotech Innovation Park, part of the EPFL Innovation Park and the Campus Biotech buildings, we host over 44 entities, and 26 startups and scale-ups are working in the field of life sciences, building all that revolutionary technology. And so each time we'd like to introduce to you a couple of them and some news and share some news about them. And today, indeed, it's Early Sight. The Early Sight team are based at Campus Biotech Innovation Park, and we would like to congratulate them today for their first closing of the 2.3 million out of a 3 million seed round in Swiss francs, obviously. The startup that was funded in March 2019, they use a novel approach to provide a single cell level imaging of the back of the eye called the retina. Its technology combines hardware and software to propose a unique medical device that can observe the cells affected at early stage of the most prevalent retinal diseases, such as age-related macular degeneration or diabetic retinopathy, to treat them sooner and more efficiently. And you can read more about Early Sight as well as this article in the link in the comments. So there's really some pretty revolutionary work going on in lots of different fields within the life sciences sector. And we'd love to for you to really get to know the startups better. And that way, we thought the best way of doing that is to let them actually present themselves. And today we are presenting Arteria. And Arteria brings a new standard of care to stroke surgeons for the benefit of their patients by developing cutting-edge technologies to bring micromotion deep in the brain arteries, enabling seamless navigation and stroke treatment. And here's a video of Guillaume Petit-Pierre, CEO and founder of Arteria.
So we've developed a new method to access brain lesions from inside a patient using the vascular anatomy as an access route to deliver a treatment in the brain. We have been founded in 2019, and we are now a team of 6 people. Mark and myself are the co-founders, and we have now R&D engineers and quality manager working with us. Our vision and mission is to revolutionize the way stroke surgeries are performed, and our main customers are the hospitals and the neuroradiology centers. And I would say that the best and latest news we have to share is that we have been able to validate our market access in the US with the FDA very recently. That has been a great milestone for Arteria. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so you can see the replay of this video in our replay, and otherwise the links are in the comments. So don't worry if you missed the beginning, because we had some issues with the sound. Let's move on to the wider Swiss Romand region. We can go to the EPFL. Excuse me. So older traumatic experiences are harder to get over compared to recent ones, it appears so. And EPFL scientists have started to understand why at the level of brain circuits. And the results point the way for treating long-term trauma. They have identified the specific regions in the brain of mice responsible for reprogramming traumatic experiences towards safety. And the brain regions are indeed different and depend on whether the trauma happened recently or a long time ago. They found that they could facilitate the extinction of long-lasting traumatic memories by enhancing the activity of the primitive region of the brain. The results provide insight at the brain circuit level as to why traumatic memories are persistent and harder to extinguish, and shed light on the brain mechanisms involved recovering from long-term traumatic memories. And read more about this revolutionary research in the link in the comments. Now we can move on to the events. If you're interested in CE marking or anything to do with regulatory for your medical device or your pharma or biotech startup, we will hold our next Campus Biotech Innovation Park workshop on June 24th with guest speakers of Voisin Consulting Life Sciences. So who are they? VCLS, they are a global product development consulting firm who guides biotechnology, pharmaceutical, medtech manufacturers throughout product development and market access. So from early stage to patients, they assist innovators by designing product development strategies that optimize clinical development to drive commercial success. And we invite you to sign up through the links in the comments. If you want more information about what this workshop is going to be about, feel free to reach out to the Genius team. With our initial invitation, we got very excited responses already from the members of Campus Biotech Innovation Park. So we understand that, especially with the changing regulations, they have changed already. This is a very important topic if you're developing a life sciences startup. So feel free to contact us. Now for Switzerland's most important medical technology conference. The 23rd edition of the Swiss Medtech Day will take place on September 8th at the Kursaal in Bern. And they will focus and highlight to understand the key role of medical technology in the digitalization of healthcare. Digital health will be the major driver of healthcare in the future, and this includes the medical technology industry. Healthcare is transitioning at the moment, with digital products requiring a rethink of innovation processes and business models. One major issue is increasing patient centricity of the entire value-added chain. So there are about 50 or more exhibitors. There are also usually around 650 attendees and 6 or more breakout sessions. And for more information and registration, you can find the link in the comments. Now, if you're a startup with a revenue over 1 million francs, or if you have more than 10 full-time employees, and do you provide innovative solutions in the fields, including, for example, technology, mobility, sustainability, food retail, or health, the Scale-Up Bootcamps offer Swiss and international startups unique business development opportunities as pilot projects, partnerships, investments, and new potential customers to scale up their business. And as a participating startup, you will engage in an exclusive half-day matchmaking event, and you'll meet industry leaders for one-to-one sessions and scale-up deal building. The Scale-Up Bootcamps are powered by Venture Lab in partnership with Digital Switzerland, the Gerbert Ruf Stiftung, and Venture Kick. So register your startup today and apply via the link sent in the comments. That's it for us. Back to you.
Fantastic. Thank you. So many things happening. But are you coming back in physical meetings as well, Ingeborg?
Yeah, as soon as the situation allows, and we have a very soft estimation that after the rentrée September, we'll likely start doing physical events again. And I know everybody's looking forward to that, if not for croissants.
Yeah, and I hope that James can have also some good news about some physical events. James, when are we going back to see each other, not from a screen?
So, Antonio, it's a very good question. And in fact, you'll see that one of the first tests of a large event is happening next week at the Startup Days in Bern. So, in fact, the Swiss government has given approval that this will be a test of a 600 people live event. And we'll all have QR codes will be tracked. We're actually getting the tests for the PCR in the mail. So we send them back for the test that allows us to go, and then they'll track us afterwards. So it's actually a pilot for a large scale event in Switzerland. And there is also an online part, so you can follow it as a startup. Now, the Startup Days is the reference event in Switzerland for startups. I think this will be the 14th one I'll go to. I've been as a startup, I've been as a corporate and an acquirer, and now at Fongit as a supporter. And literally you can meet the whole ecosystem there, from the VCs to the angels to InnoSuisse to even the politicians, and they have some world-class economists attending this year to explain how can the government boost innovation and shape the future of the economy. So if you are a startup, unfortunately you can't buy a ticket to be there, but you can be there online, and we really recommend that. It's the quickest way to network the whole ecosystem in one day. So yeah, I'll be going to Bern. I think Ingeborg will be also joining the event, and we'll be we'll let you know all about it next time we have our Café&Croissant. So another important training, if you are a student or a postdoc or a academic or someone that has a job and is considering a startup, we can warmly recommend InnoSuisse's business concept training. A lot of our top startups have been through that training before they decided to found the company. And in fact, some of them were working on another project idea, and then 2 years later, after this training, we're in a perfect position to launch their startup. And here I'm thinking of Ebermed, who also went on to win so many of the Swiss awards for their project. So it's 12 evenings from I think 5:30 to 9 o'clock. Not sure if it's going to be online or a face-to-face or a mix. It tends to take place at the Campus Biotech Innovation Park, so quite central. And it covers all of the aspects that you need to build an innovation project, with a focus on startups and deep tech. It's a really great program, and if you are considering startups, you aren't quite ready to launch your startup yet, we really recommend this. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, we have the scale-up coaching. This is InnoSuisse's second or third call for scale-up coaching. And if you are a company and you're getting ready to scale up, you've had your initial sales, and now the question is, what is the right strategy for scaling up? What is the right balance between doing projects and developing a scalable product? This is a great program. You will actually be assigned 3 coaches to work on you with you at the same time on your strategy. So it's like a mini board. They also will talk with your other stakeholders with you to make sure we get all of the strategic questions on the table. And then you have a period of time to work with them to execute it. You also have a large budget where you can work with InnoSuisse approved IP experts, also financial experts and legal experts. So it's a great resource, and we're seeing a lot of good startups leveraging that at the moment to take them to the next level. And another classic event is the Swiss Startup Challenge. This year, there's a real focus on cybersecurity. So if you have a startup that is working in the field of cybersecurity, which of course is a field where we're all scared, where we're seeing pipelines being shut down, where we're seeing yesterday Australian banks going offline and also a few airlines having issues. So if you're anything around the field of cybersecurity, apply to the Swisscom Startup Challenge. The deadline is the 4th of July, and you get access to their team, some of their resources, and also their Silicon Valley outpost. So a great opportunity for Swiss startups that are working in that space. And if you're looking for some summer reading, we can really warmly recommend a series of articles from the Bilan that have been written by a certain A. Gambardella. And the most recent one is about the technological revolution in the financial markets. You will surely have heard about the GameStop phenomenon, where in January their stock price went up a factor 17. There have been a number of waves happening around that. And some people talk about it that one part of the community is trying to disrupt the established financial community. But in fact, we have a slightly different opinion about that. It simply is the fact and a direct result that investment is becoming democratized. It's becoming disintermediated. You can buy and sell shares directly on a number of platforms, eToro, Swissquote, etc. And people are sharing their information through different channels as well. So this is classic, and it's just one of the various areas where fintech is being applied. Now, if this is happening, it's absolutely crucial that the general public become better educated in how to invest and the risks that are there. And one great Swiss and Geneva startup is Money Masters, and they're actually working on how to educate people on investment strategy. So I really enjoyed this article, which finishes with the line, which is information is power, but power is nothing without control. So good summarizing, and the link is in the comments. And there are a few other good articles there about, for example, the future of meat that is not based on animal produce, and we also other ones around the future of the financial marketplace. So something to read on the beach. So vaccinations, then vacation, then more innovation. And with that, I'd like to thank you all for your attention. If you want to know anything more about what's happening in the Swiss startup scene, please connect with our platforms. We're going to have a next newsletter coming out in just a few days. So that will give you an overview of the program moving forward. And now we move over to your questions.
Yeah, thank you, James, for this effective summary, and yes, thank you also for promoting this big effort of our column at on Bilan, which is interesting. And welcome, Marta, back again. We have the opportunity to have Marta here from the Swiss Biotech Association. And so we would like to take the opportunity to ask her some questions. So I invite you all to write questions you might have on the channel, the comments of the channels that you're using for watching us now online. But maybe I can start, in fact, with the question I started also before when Marta was presenting. You know, the idea is the following, Marta, that we're really trying to communicate to our entrepreneurs. I mean, biotech sector is such a strategic sector for Switzerland, and you were mentioning with the three examples involving the academia, the role of Bern, the Lonza Moderna interaction, and then the Sophia Genetics company. I mean, how rich and diverse it can be. But every time that we talk to entrepreneurs or to people that very often are still in the research and are still in the labs or in the academia, they always think how complicated is this journey when it comes to the financing path of their company. So how do you see that, and what would you be your recommendation? regarding
this? Okay, well, very good question, obviously. You're right, it's very complicated, and I'm sure James and Ingeborg would agree, it's high risk and high reward, and therefore it's complicated. And the development times, in the times that I've been working in this arena, it used to say 8 years. They started saying 10 years, 12 years. Now it's 15 years, from a lab to an approved drug. And even when the drug is approved, you need to get that market access, and you need to, make sure it's reimbursed, it's on the right list. This being said, I think that there's never been a better time to raise money, simply because there's a lot of money looking for good projects. When you speak to venture capitalists, they'll tell you that sometimes there's more money than there are good projects. So there's always hunger for, good projects. But also the pandemic, the fact that we can now very easily, go online and present our project. And I'd like to raise some opportunities that are happening even here in Switzerland. There's something called Biotech Gate, digital partnering, organized by Venture Valuation. They have 5 days of online partnering where you can put the information about your startup on the database, and the corporates are all there. And they're looking at that database, like, who is developing antibodies in this area of interest, who's working on cell and gene therapy in my area of interest. And they will ask to speak to you because they want to be on top of people developing new therapies and new solutions in their area of competence. So by listing your startup on this database, you get invitations, but you can also invite, and it's a great opportunity. So that's between August 30th and September 3rd, and I'll send all this to Ingeborg, and they partner with Swiss Biotech Association. We co-promote their events. And then there's something in San Francisco, which you used to have to be present. It's called Venture Summit Virtual Connect from July 6th to 8. And there's literally 250 VCs present there. And, each type of VC has, their area of expertise and where they like to invest. So my message is network. Be present, see how other people are pitching, see how, which investors are interested in what, and take this online opportunity, now very expensive, to pitch and get known. And it's never been easier thanks to the disaster of the pandemic. So Biotech Gate Digital Partnering, August 30th to September 3rd, and then Venture Summit Virtual Connect in San Francisco, July 6th through 8th. And you can find all those events on the Swiss Biotech website under events. And of course, also come to Swiss Biotech Day on September 7th in Basel. That's also a great opportunity. And there you can actually be physical.
That's great.
We have some venture tracks presentations there as well. So let us know if you're interested to present.
Yeah, that is great advice, and you're right. Networking, it's such an important element, and as well, you normally, what we say to our entrepreneurs, that you must build your network when you don't need it, actually, because that's the best moment. When you can have very good relationship and peer-to-peer type of relationship most of the time. So you build, in this case, when it comes to money, you build a network with investors when you don't need them. In fact, when you go and ask rather for advice to them, and then so by the time they get to know you, they get to know your project, then it will be them coming for asking you to invest into your company.
And also today we have, before we had only VCs, now we have angel investors, and the corporate venture funds are quite active. We've seen it in Geneva, I think with the German biotech venture fund, but we also have Novartis and Roche, and all of these have their own Merck, corporate venture funds, which I think 10 years ago didn't really exist. So corporates got into the game.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah,
we usually get 4 to 5 million. At least that's what Novartis does.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I think we still have we have time for maybe 1 or 2 questions. There's one from the audience I read here. It's your your point of view about the recent EU-Swiss relationships, because, of course, Swiss innovation in general, biotech, but not only, have been incredibly good in leveraging all the European programs, that goes with finance, it goes with, and then now there's this change in the approach, and we would like to know a bit what is your outlook on that, and how would an entrepreneur position him or herself on that?
Yeah, I'm not directly involved in this aspect. I'm not part of the lobby group, but I think it should be something that's going to be resolved. And I'm a diehard optimist, so I think it's going to be resolved. But I'm not super aware of the intricacies of what's possible today and not possible. Yeah, sorry for that.
No. I mean, I think nobody knows what's going to happen, and this is the issue, and that's why also our answer today is just to see. We cannot believe that it can go as wrong as people
exactly
think. So let's hope that in the end a good common sense.
Maybe one thing, we had an online session with the NIH. We might have another one this year, and the NIH in Washington reached out to us, or Baltimore, and said, we want Swiss companies to apply for grants here. We are not only giving grants to American companies, and it's totally non-dilutive funding as well. So do look at the different institutes in the NIH. For example, they have an institute which is only for eye health, because we spoke about diabetic macular edema this morning. So they have many, many different institutes. They're all very active. And if you're interested, we could help you organize the presentation by the NIH in one of the next Fongit events. I'm sure they would be interested. And
sure. That's great. Yeah, maybe we have time for one final question that is coming from the audience, and I think I know the entrepreneurs, so I know it's really going into that specific moment of the company. So he's asking about the dynamics of large companies and startups in this industry. You mentioned about CVC, so the corporate venture capital approaching startups, which is great. But the question is, how do large pharma work with startups, and what are large pharma looking for in an M&A startup?
Okay, well, for one thing, that the large pharma actually regularly present on what assets they want to acquire. So it comes back a little bit to networking. So you need to be in those sessions when Sanofi, Novartis, Roche, Merck, Ferring, and like to mention the ones here, they all present and they say, this is what we want to acquire. These are the assets we're looking for. This is the pipeline we're looking to fill. So they actually say that. And then on the preclinical, they typically might partner with you in oncology. But in most of the other therapeutic areas, they tend to want to partner as of you've already completed a phase 2 proof of concept, maybe just a small phase 2, but there is some indication that the drug is working. So that's kind of the ideal moment to partner with pharma and for them to basically finance the rest of your trial and take a stake in your company. But for oncology, it can happen before.
Yeah, I get
it. And if I may, I'll share an insight from last night. There was a very nice event organized by the University of Geneva where they showcased 10 startups. And there was a nice analogy, which was that the researchers have a raw diamond. And the first question is it a diamond or is it glass? And the pharma industry and the investors, they want a jewel that they can put in the shop window and sell. And so the role of an incubator, of course, is to polish this and make sure that the gem is shown to its best way, all of the different facets, from the regulatory to the target product profile and so on. And the danger is with the researchers is they just polish the main facet, which is the underlying science and the IP. So you have a beautiful, solid front of the jewel, but without all of these other facets, it won't sparkle. And maybe there's an opportunity to make two jewels out of the uncut gem by attacking two indications at the same time. So that's what we found interesting, is how to make that world, that be the jeweler in making the transition from the great research that's being done in our universities and what the pharma and the investors need for improving the life of patients.
Yeah, and if I may have one more comment, completely very interesting what you said, James. The real art seems to be in a very cleverly designed early clinical trial. I mean, we look at Molecular Partners in Zurich. They also worked in ophthalmology. They designed 3 very small studies, one in diabetic macular edema, one in age-related macular degeneration, and I think there were 30 patients each, very small studies, very cleverly designed. They partner with Allergan. So, having this possibility of having a small proof of concept, helps make the glass look like diamond. So the clinical is a really, really important part. And the other thing is, it is true that corporates no longer have a tendency not to partner with a company. They want to partner an asset, a specific asset, which fits in their portfolio, which goes back to the idea, you got to be at the presentations where they say what they're looking for. And that helps a lot.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, very interesting analogy. Yeah. Thank you, Marta. I think it's time to wrap up. I apologize for the non-biotech, purely biotech entrepreneurs listening, but I think it was a too big opportunity of Marta with us not to actually leverage on her competence. And second, as you know, in particular, the example of Sophia Genetics shows that this convergent technology makes that any biotech now has the ICT. And there is really this convergence of sectors, which makes, by the way, the Geneva Lake, the Lake Geneva area so interesting in terms of concentration of competences.
Absolutely.
So I think thank you very much, James, Ingeborg. Any final word? No. Okay.
No, I would love to have jumped into this discussion, but yeah. We leave it for next time. It's 9:30.
All right. So with that in mind, thank you, Marta, again. Thank you, James. Thank you, Ingeborg, for joining this event today. Thank you all for listening. It's recorded. You're gonna see and click and do and listen again. And we are here for support to answer any question that you have. And I'll see you hopefully very soon for another Café&Croissant, or maybe for another online or physical event, who knows. So until then, thank you, have a great day, and I'll see you soon.
Bye, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.